With us right now is former New York City Police Commissioner Howard Safir. Howard, very good to have you back. What do you make of this threat, or one that was seemingly stopped in its tracks?
Well, it's not unusual. It's something that goes on all the time. The good news is this threat was pretty much stopped by the NYPD, and the NYPD has the best intelligence and anti-terrorism groups of any department or agency in the world. But, unfortunately, this happens, and, you may or may not remember back in 1999 when I was commissioner, we arrested 3 young Palestinian men in Brooklyn on 4th Avenue with 3 active bombs. And we were very fortunate we got information and stopped it, but they were going to blow up the subway in Brooklyn. So, what we need to do is we need to harden the buildings because terrorists don't like hardened targets. We need to train people so they can respond when they see something, they say something. And we need to get really good intelligence because in a city as big as New York, with as many people moving around, there's no way you're going to be able to absolutely guarantee the safety of everybody. So we need to stop things before they happen like they did in this plot.
In this case, they were able to intercept a lot of calls back and forth and communications between this Philippine citizen, and one a Canadian citizen, but living here, I guess. But this stuff, to your point, has gone on in the past, have been stopped in the past. And as you've reminded me over these many years, they have but to succeed once. The effort here might have been unhatched or revealed because they got sloppy, I'm told, near the end in their communications, and an undercover agent was the one that blew this for them. But how do we keep track of this sort of stuff?
We have to keep track of people who are suspects. We have to keep intercepting communications when we know where the targets are, lawfully, of course. But we have to do this, and we have to do it relentlessly. As you say, they can be wrong 1,000 times. They only have to be right once.
But what can we do on trains, Howard? On that, I know what you're saying about making buildings more secure, and we try to do that certainly since 9/11. But subways are another beast. I mean, particularly in cities that rely on this sort of transportation. What do you do there?
Yeah, you have millions and millions of people using the subway every day. There is technology that I'm not going to discuss that can be used in subways to help, but really it comes down to the eyes and ears of citizens. They see something, they see a backpack left, somebody who's dressed inappropriately, somebody who's acting suspiciously. They need to contact authorities right away, and there's no reason to worry about being embarrassed. You're going to save a lot of lives.
Howard, what about this idea that here's another group that wanted mass casualties, very similar to at least the approach that Haddock took in Las Vegas? We still don't know what inspired that attack or what made him do what he did or what was in his thinking. But again, the goal, mass casualties. Early on, we were trying to attribute to he was looking at a country, music-loving crowd. Turns out that wasn't necessarily particularly important to him. He was looking at other crowds of other type of music tastes, Chicago, Fenway Park in Boston. But the one common theme, large crowds, try to hit as many people as possible. If there's any general tip you would give security forces in these cities, it would be what?
Well, you have to look at the surroundings. You have to search. You got to use explosive detectives. You have to use bomb dogs. You have to make the personnel in those buildings aware of what's going on. But, the fact is we're not going to stop every one of these. We just have to go on and live our lives, and we have to make sure that we make progress against ISIS. And as we've discussed over the last number of days, we really have to do something about not how many weapons are out there, but how we account for them and how we hold people responsible for them.
All right. Thank you very much, Howard Safir, the former New York Police Department Commissioner, joining us via Skype.